So how about the other classes? Are they going well?
Yes, ma'am, but no one is taking literary criticism class, ma'am,
Oh.
in the evening time.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any doubts regarding the last week sessions? We have 2 sessions already completed, right? Yeah. So
No, ma'am. No doubts.
yeah. So now the live stream has been started. I think we have to start the class. Okay. So today we're going to deal with the second block, 17th century background. Block 2. So already we came to know and we have discussed how many country people, I mean the races, have been invaded Britain. So if you take a closer look at 16th and 17th centuries, we have Tudors and Stuarts. So Tudors is a dynasty and Stuart is another dynasty. So let's closely observe these two. This is regarding the 16th century rulers. Their family is Tudors. So these Tudors, 1531, the reign of Henry VIII started, and after him, Edward, after him, Mary, and then Elizabeth. These three are observe one thing. Henry VIII, he separated from Catholicism. He separated from Catholicism and he started supporting Protestantism. Okay. So Henry VIII, son is Edward VI. So he is also Protestant because he followed his father. Mary, she is a Catholic. She is a daughter of Henry VIII. And she married a Spaniard. Spaniard means Spain. He is from Spain. So Spain is a country. The major religion is Catholicism. So she is a Catholic. And Elizabeth. After these two, Elizabeth I became the ruler of Britain, England. So after taking the crown of England, she made many amendments and she encouraged literature, and so many changes have come. And the English church has been established under the rule of Elizabeth I. Elizabeth I is a daughter of Henry VIII. Elizabeth I dies without an heir because she is not married. And so her countries bring, courtiers bring James VI of Scotland, her cousin, to England. So she is left with no heirs. So obviously, the heir should be of their royal dynasty. So James VI became the ruler. James VI is the son of the Mary, Queen of Scotland. So after Elizabeth, this Stuart dynasty started. So James I, who ascended the throne after Elizabeth I, he belongs to Stuart dynasty. So James I, and after that Charles I executed, okay, and has been executed. So after that, English Civil War, and that is called Commonwealth. formed because of English Civil War. Commonwealth has been formed. And after that, Charles II became the ruler of England. So this Charles II is the son of Charles I. So now these two are sons of Charles I, and Charles II has been, restored. So this is called restoration period. So
Madam, just I started now. Once again, repeat, ma'am.
which one?
Start now. It began. No, start dynasty. Once, just repeat.
Yeah, here you can see now. James
yeah.
I, Charles I.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles I is the son of James I, and he has been executed because Charles I is a Catholic. So England now became a Protestant country. So now they did not want the reign of James I even, and Charles I also. So now he has been executed. And after that, there is a long gap. So Oliver Cromwell became the Lord Protector of England. And after that, Charles II has been ascended to throne. This is called restoration period. So now, James I. So in the last chapter, we dealt with the Elizabethan period, right? That is Elizabethan period. The literary period under the rule of Queen Elizabeth is called Elizabethan era. Now, Jacobian era. The rule of James I is called Jacobian era. So James I, let us see how many changes has political changes, economical changes, literary changes. James I, born in 1566 at Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. So he's a significant ruler of England and Scotland during his reign. So why he became ruler of both the countries is James I is the king, crowned prince of Scotland. And his mother has been executed in Clock Tower, that is in England, because of treason. So he left as a single heir to both Scotland and England. After the execution of Mary and after the death of Queen Elizabeth, James I became the single heir. So now he is a ruler of both England and Scotland. So he united the kingdoms, England, Scotland, Wales, all these countries. So James VI of Scotland became James I. So why sixth is there were ancestors which named James in Scotland. But now he came to England. So now he became the ruler. That's why he is named as James I of England after the death of Queen Elizabeth I. The crowns of Scotland and England were united, but the two kingdoms remained separate entities with their own parliaments and laws. And James I is a Protestant. Remember, he is a Protestant, but belongs to Catholic roots. So, James I was not completely accepted by Scottish people and England people. England was unable to accept him as a complete or their own ruler because James I doesn't belong to their dynasty and he is from Scotland. And Scottish people did not like James because he is the son of Queen Mary, Scotland, which she lived her life almost until her end out of the country. So that's why this ruler was not completely accepted. They did not love their ruler. So united England. So James I, he united England, Scotland, and Wales. And he increased powers of reformers in Parliament. We will see what is reformation in next slide. So reformers in Parliament. So what is this reformation? Is reformation of church. Reformation of church. So he sold knighthoods for quick cash. So these knighthoods, these knights are quite popular in England and their culture. It is, they used to take it as honor, because maintaining knights and knighthoods and giving lands to them and giving titles, that was a tradition actually. But when James, he sold knighthoods and knights, and he has taken away lands, and he levied knights' families with huge taxes. So which became very unpleasant and unsatisfied thing to England people. And he believed in divine rights of kings. So he also believed divine rights of kings. That means king is a divine incarnation. So king should possess all the land. He can do anything, whatever he wants, which is basically contradictory to the ideology of British people. So now his rule is very much unsatisfied. So they plotted against James I. That is called the gunpowder plot. The gunpowder plot. Understand this gunpowder plot in 1605. Why? Because this is important. Gunpowder means it is a scientific advancement. As we have already learned that in Renaissance, science has been given importance. That means this scientific investigations and the results, interest are taking place in the society. And they used that result and they plotted against James I to kill. But unfortunately, it was fortunately or unfortunately to their will, we don't know, but it was a unsuccessful plan. So he sponsored a new translation of the Bible. That is why still today we are talking about James I. KJV, King James Version of Bible. So by this 1611.
That time printing press already came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Printing press already came. But as soon as the printing press is invented, the translation did not started. Already before 10 years, I mean, they have been working to translate. But he appointed a committee to translate it. And this version, particularly the first English version, is called King James Bible version. Even today also, yes.
The KJV, this man only done it, or
no, he appointed a committee.
He called, sorry.
Okay, he appointed a committee, and the literary genius, the people are there who can translate Bible. So Bible has two testaments, two parts, Old Testament and New Testament. New Testament was written in Greek. Old Testament was written in Hebrew. So he appointed committee so that they could translate Old Testament, means from Hebrew to English, New Testament from Greek to English. And another important event under King James' rule is the Mayflower carrying English Puritans, that they are called pilgrims, sailed to North America. This voyage laid the foundation for the Plymouth colony in what is now Massachusetts in 1620. Okay, so this point needs to be discussed here. As you have already started American literature, right? So the American literature started from this point. Okay, compared to British literature, American literature is young, quite new, and it started exactly here. So this Puritans. So first of all, who are these Puritans? I think I missed that slide. Okay, I will explain. Yes. So here, these Puritans are, as we are discussed in almost in the history of British, listen carefully, please. First, Romans invaded British. So Britain was invaded by Romans and later Anglo-Saxons, and you have Normans, you have Vikings and all these people, right? Now, in the reign of Henry the Eighth, he established England Church, English Church. That church is called English Church. So why English Church? Earlier, Christianity means only single authority. There were no separate congregations. Roman Catholic Missionary, that is RCM, Roman Catholic Missionary. And almost all these countries, almost all islands of Britain Islands were under the rule of papacy. So what is this papacy? Papacy is that all these countries were ruled by Roman authority, a single authority who is called Pope. According to Romans, Pope is the divine incarnation of God. So they reigned, they believed, they changed their religion to Christianity, even though the authority was, they have their own separate law. That law was different. Political administration, kingship was different. Even though Tudors, monarchs were ruling islands of Britain, they had to take the support, they had to take the advice of papacy. There is no other way. But for the first time, King Henry VIII negated this, rejected the authority, he questioned the authority of Catholicism or the authority of Pope. And he established English Church. But why? Two reasons. One thing, they were taxed heavily. Second thing, he did not like his wife. He wants to have annulment from his wife, Catherine. Catherine, mother of Queen Elizabeth I. According to Roman Catholicism, a king has to get married only once. There is no topic and the question of annulment, that is divorce. So Pope or the papacy is not ready to grant divorce to King Henry and his wife. So that's why King Henry forcibly brought his wife into the case of treachery and he executed his wife publicly. And that itself is the rejection of the authority of Pope. And he established the English Church. Right? So now, this act itself is called the Reformation. Reformation. That is separating religion, that itself a church, and escaping from the authority of Roman rulers. This is called reformation. And after that, what has happened? The English church has been established, and the people who protested, that means who rejected, who opposed, who questioned the authority of Catholicism are called Puritans. Puritans, I hope you have come across with this word, Puritans. They are nothing but Protestants who protested Catholicism. They are Protestants, and these Puritans are a group of people who strongly believed that the English church has to be reformed again, means purified once again. Even though King Henry established the English church, Puritans, they opined that still some type of purification has to come across. That's why they closed all the theaters. During Elizabethan era, English literature was at its peak. Writers, poetry, drama, okay, and sonnets, and entertainment. And during the period of Renaissance, people left religion, started writing on new topics. But now, when this period has come, Reformation, so these people, they strongly denied all these things. They forcibly destroyed all the theaters, and all the theaters were closed. And so now the king got anger, and the people who supported king also. So these Puritans were considered extremists. They are called separatists. These separatists, okay, so they were killed. So lots of massacres happened in England. So people who opposed king, courtiers, royal party, they have been executed. So these separatists who separated from Puritans, they are called separatists, and they strongly believe that the English church needs to be purified a lot. People has to change a lot. And those people were not living a secured life. That's why they decided that they cannot purify the church anymore, and there is no way out. So that's why they have to leave England, and they take these ships. So they started escaping. I mean, they just left England, and they moved to America. And how they came to know about America? Because recently Columbus had been invented. America had been invented by Columbus, right? So now they started to move to North America, and they established a colony called Plymouth. And now that Plymouth colony is Massachusetts. And this is happened in 1620. That is the main incident under the reign of James I. So what all you need to remember about James I is Bible, King James Version, and he is not a pleasant ruler to England. And during his reign, Puritans came to America. So Jacobian period. The literature during the reign of James I is known as Jacobian period. And William Shakespeare. So you might be wondering, this William Shakespeare belongs to Elizabethan era, right? So Shakespeare has seen the two rulers. Elizabeth, after the death of Queen Elizabeth, Jacobian period, that is James I. So he survived these two rulers. So William Shakespeare wrote some of his major tragedies, including Macbeth and Antony and Cleopatra during this period. Ben Jonson, known for his satirical plays such as Walpole and The Alchemist. This is about a scientific investigation. This is Alchemist. John Donne is a very renowned metaphysical poet. Okay. And he talks about morality, religion, love, and all that. Francis Bacon. Last class we have read Francis Bacon, the most intelligent writer, notable for his essays and the development of the scientific method, that is empiricism, empirical method. John Webster wrote dark and violent tragedies such as The White Devil and the Duchess of Malfi. They started portraying the life as it is, the realities of the life, rather than taking pleasure, enjoyment in some imaginative process. So the Reformation. During the 16th century, the Reformation movement took hold in England, led by figures such as Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, and Thomas Cranmer. During this period, the Church of England broke from the authority of the Pope in Rome and established itself as a separate entity. The English Reformation had significant political and religious implications, impacting the power structures and beliefs of the time. So obviously, civil war taken place. This turbulent period also witnessed the dissolution of the monasteries and the establishment of Protestant doctrine within the English church. So they destroyed the disillusioned monasteries. Monasteries used to play very good resources. Monasteries being the seat of learning and at the center of training to future fathers, nuns, and RCM missionaries. I mean, the clergy people, and they used to own lots of money, treasure. And they have their own tax system. They have their own administrative system. Like in India, we used to have gurukulas, like that, monasteries. So they used to hold a lot of, power, money, political and economical reformations used to start from these monasteries. And whatever the thing or law, new thing has taken place, they have to take the advice of monastery. Monasteries are the representative of papacies. So now they have been destroyed. So leaving the people unarmed and creating a lot of chaos and disturbance in the society. So people were quite depressed with the rule of James I. And leaders, Reformation period, Martin Luther and John Calvin were prominent figures during this movement. These are the two main people who started this Reformation. That is, they started converting the others, and they started translating the Greek texts into English. And we already know the printing press has evolved. So the printing press revolution started, and the translated Bible as well as pamphlets has been distributed to the entire part of islands of Britain. Here you need to understand, earlier when Roman Catholic missionary was there, it was not. Only clergymen, fathers, nuns, they can discuss, they can communicate with the God. That is the idea that RCM has spreaded throughout the society. So society used to believe that they have to pay taxes to God, they have to pay taxes to the emperor, okay? And if they committed the sacraments, they used to call the sacraments. That means they have to give money. If they have committed a sin, so they have to give money to the church in order to wash away the sin. So if they got a new baby, they have to pay tax. They have to pay some amount to church. Like this, 7 kinds of sacraments were there. They were forcibly imposed. People were not given any chance. But the advent of translation of Bible with these university wits and as well as some people, okay, so when they studied in the university, they started reading Bible and they translated that into English. So obviously, awareness has been there in the society and people started revolting against papacy. So the impact is the Reformation had far-reaching effects on politics, economics, and society. So Protestantism, it laid the foundation for Protestantism, one of the 3 major branches of Christianity. Protestants and the Protestant churches. Again, the 3 churches, say Lutheran, Calvinism, Cavalier Church it is called, and the English Church. These 3 churches formed.
Madam, but Luther has been started in Germany, no?
Which one?
Martin Luther, he began to Germany.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah, then he
But
come
he-
into the... No, yeah.
But when he published his thesis, it became quite popular and he also became quite popular in England. So the reformation of the churches, 3 branches, Lutheran and Reformed, that is called Calvinism and Anglican represent. So these 3 churches, Lutheran Church. So founded by Martin Luther, a German monk and theologian who initiated the Reformation by posting his 95 theses in 1517. So Reformed Church, so it is based on teachings of John Calvin, a contemporary of Martin Luther, a French theologian. He is a German, he is a French and reformer. So Calvin's ideas were influential in Switzerland, France, and Netherlands and Scotland. And Anglican Church, the official church, because Henry VIII established this, okay, in 1534, after his split from Roman Catholic Church due to political and personal reasons, notably his desire to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. So this is a brief background about Unit 6. And now, Unit 7, John Donne and his poems, Metaphysical Poetry. So before going into the poems are very easy, quite easy to understand. They are very simple because he used simple language and the themes are also quite common. But what you need to understand is to read between the lines. In what way that you have to understand. So this is called metaphysical poetry. So the word seem to be very simple, very common to us, any word. But when they metaphysical poetry, the words, if you read, they want to convey some deeper meaning that you need to understand. That is the style of metaphysical movement. It emerged in the early 17th century, characterized by its intellectual and philosophical exploration of complex themes such as love, religion, and existence. Let us go through the key characteristics. Conceits. They use these conceits. So what are they? They are extended metaphors. Metaphysical poets often use elaborate and unusual comparisons known as conceits, which are extended metaphors that connect two vastly different things in surprising and thought-provoking ways. Let's take an example. John Donne compares lovers to a compass in a valediction forbidding warning. So, here, compass, in this particular poem, a forbidding warning, John Donne compares lovers, lady love and his lover. They are like a compass. You just imagine a compass, right? So two poles would be connecting at the center, North Pole and South Pole, right? So even though they always signify some two different things, they are unique. They are joined inherently. Their idea is the same. They cannot be separated. That is the idea of John Donne. In order to express this idea, he uses the term compass. Okay, so usually compass is different, but John Donne, they are using it in a different way. Let me give you another example. So there is a poem, popular poem called Flea. A flea. You know flea. It is a mosquito, which is flying, or a it is a flying thing, any creature, that is flea. So now he is saying this flea is a marriage bed. It is a sacred thing. Now it is a holy temple. So in the poem The Flea, the lover is talking to his lady love. Okay, so when the lady love is trying to kill the flea, because the flea is always coming and distracting and disturbing the lady love, her sleep. So now she wants to kill the flea. She is trying to kill the flea. Now the lover is addressing, oh no, don't commit murder. Don't become a culprit. If you kill this flea, you'll become a murderer. Okay. So a simple act of killing a flea, a mosquito, how can it be a cruel thing? Because he is saying that mosquito has bitten me and it has bitten you also. So in such a way, it became a marriage bed. So now it became a holy temple. So don't be cruel. Don't kill that. Okay. So now it is very sacred. So if you kill a sacred one, you'll become a culprit. That's how he tries to convince his lover. So metaphysical poetry is such a way. So they used the themes of love, morality, and all these things in a funny way and in a serious way, in a different way. And very, very simple things can convey larger meanings and greater meanings. That is the chief characteristic of metaphysical poetry. And second one, intellectual and philosophical themes. The names, initially, it may give us an impression that it is such a trivial thing and why this has been chosen. But when you understand closely, so there is a hidden meaning in each and every line and every word. Metaphysical poetry explores abstract concepts. These poems delve into deep and complex subjects like love, faith, the nature of the soul, and the human experience. They also engage in philosophical inquiry, often posing questions and reflecting on existence and the universe, inviting readers to ponder these profound ideas. And next characteristic is paradox and irony. Always their themes are paradoxical, their ideas are irony. With irony, they project paradoxical elements. Metaphysical poets frequently use paradoxical statements that seem contradictory but reveal a deeper truth. Irony and wit are notable in treating serious subjects, adding layers of meaning and complexity. Next, concentration and brevity. Brevity is in brief. Brevity means in a not long narrative way. concentration, the focus will not be shifted because the poet will be talking about the same thing and in a very short manner. So dense imagery. The poetry is often dense with imagery and ideas, requiring careful reading and reflection. Each and every word signifies a meaning. So there is use of dense. You know what is dense? Quantity, in more quantity. That is dense. With imagery, yes, requiring careful reading and reflection. You cannot skip the words. Every word should be given importance in order to understand the entire meaning. Compactness. Poems are typically concise, putting much meaning into few lines. And the most important factor is colloquial language, everyday speech. Colloquial means everyday speech. Unlike the elevated language often associated with poetry, metaphysical poets use plain, colloquial speech, making their work more accessible. You read the poems of Spenser, Shakespeare, Marlowe. The language is quite difficult. I mean, why we feel it is difficult? Because it is not written in everyday speech. But metaphysical poetry, it is too far from the old traditional classical poetry. They use very simple language. They can choose the themes and subjects, words very trivial, very funny, very irony in a compact way. There is no necessity of choosing hyperbolic language and all that. That is the main feature. That's why it became very quite accessible. So they can directly address. Poems frequently directly address the reader or a specific person, creating an intimate tone. So they address the reader on a specific person, creating an intimate tone. That is not in, they write in general and they can address directly also. So intimate in the sense they can be written on representing an individual theme or individual person. In such a way, it is very nearer, that means intimate to the reader. Religious and spiritual focus, divine love and human love. There is a strong focus on the relationship between divine and human love, often exploring the connection between the two. Spiritual reflection. Poetry deeply engages with religious and spiritual questions, sometimes expressing doubt or inner conflict. So they possess not only irony, and they discuss often religious themes, the questions and the doubts aroused by, a cause due to the confusion and chaos when we are in problems. So they try to address these issues also. They try to express the conflict, inner conflict of human minds. What has to be chosen, which is good, which is bad, how our relationship with religion and God should be, what not should be, such type. Metaphysical poetry stands out for its intellectual rigor, emotional intensity, and inventive use of language, making it a distinctive and enduring part of English literary history. So works of metaphysical poets, major poets, these are John Donne, The Flea, A Valediction Forbidden Mourning, Death Be Not Be Proud, The Canonization, okay, and Meditation. George Herbert, The Temple, Sacred Poems and Private Ejaculations, and The Country Parson. So George Herbert mainly wrote on religious themes. Andrew Marvell, to his coy mistress, The Garden, and upon Appleton House. Henry Vaughan, he wrote many of his sermons. He's a sermon writer also. He used to write sermons. He used to discuss all these things, religious things and doubts. Okay, and he used to deal with skepticism and all that. So these are his writings. Being amount of all is quite popular. Where it gives it concentrates on the Jesus prayer on Mount Olive before his execution. Richard Crusher. So Steps to the Temple, the delights of the muses, and on the wounds of our crucified Lord. You observe, majority of their writings are religious. So coming to John Donne, he was his birth was taking place at London, into a Roman Catholic family. And that was, his birth was taking place in 1572. That is anti-Catholic sentiment. People started revolting against Catholicism. At that time, he was born. And his education, he studied at Hartwell, Oxford, and later at the University of Cambridge. He's a university he studied at university. Due to his Catholicism. He was born into Catholicism, so against that oath ceremony. So he was not allowed to take oath ceremony. Only Protestants were allowed. So legal studies. Donne also studied law at Lincoln's Inn and Tabb's Inn. Early career. In 1950s, Donne was a secretary to Sir Thomas Egerton and the Lord Keeper of the Great Seal, just like more than a prime minister. He used to work in the office of this person, Lord Keeper. And he married in 1601, the daughter of this secretary's wife's niece. The niece of Sir Thomas Egerton's wife, Annie's wife, Annie, wife of John Donne. Her family did not approve of the marriage, which led to Donne's dismissal and brief imprisonment. So he had to face so many struggles. He had to pay amount to royal court. And he was imprisoned. So many hardships that he had to face. Following his release, so after the king changed, he was released. Donne faced years of financial difficulty, relying on the support of friends and patrons. So he used to write sermons, that means religious speeches, in order to be delivered at the churches and private gatherings, royal gatherings. So he used to write sermons and he used to take money. He used to earn money. Religious conversion and later career. Later, he converted into Protestantism. So Anglican clergy. And he even joined in Anglican church also as a clergyman. So in 1615, Donne converted to Anglicanism. Anglicanism, which church? We just now has discussed 3 churches. One is Lutheran, second one is Reformer, and third one is Anglican. Anglican church is?
Anglican church.
Yeah.
Anglican
Anglican church established by?
Anglican.
Yeah. Henry the King.
Henry the King. Yeah.
Henry the Eighth. King Henry the Eighth. So it is established by royal. So why it is important? Anglican church is important because it is established by the king himself. So Anglicanism and was ordained as a priest in the Church of England, partly due to the encouragement of King James I. Now King James started encouraging John Donne. So Dean of St. Paul's in 1621, Donne was appointed Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral, a prestigious position he held until his death. So he has written many sermons and devotions. Donne became renowned for his powerful sermons and devotions, blending his poetic talent with his religious vocation. And one important thing is he wrote a sermon on his death, prior to his death. Death and legacy, death. John Donne died on March 31st, 1631. His funeral was marked by a sermon he had prepared, reflecting his contemplative and eloquent style. So he prepared in prior to his death. Legacy. So Donne's work was initially celebrated, but later fell out of favor. Literary critics such as T.S. Eliot revived it in the 20th century, praising Donne's intellectual and emotional depth. Today, Donne is considered one of the greatest poets of the English language and a master of metaphysical poetry. So his
Madam,
poem,
any compare with metaphysical poetry present poetry? How can we relate with can you actually how can we understand compare with which is a better way? Present poetry and last metaphysical poetry. Present poetry is a lot of difference, no? That's what.
which poetry, sir? Which poetry?
Present poetry, what we are learning, but metaphysical poetry and very long back, how it is there now the poetry is how it changes. Anything can you say a little bit?
Yeah. One thing is, sir, that we need to understand that there is no outdated fashion of writing poetry. Okay. So first of all, we should take consideration into one fact that there is no outdated style. Still today also, you can write it in metaphysical poetry. And second thing is, any literary piece needs to be understood with the background of the writer and the background of the movement. Okay. It's a good question, actually. It's a very good, appreciated question. So, how we divide or how we, make the literature into parts based on many factors. Say, based on the literary movement. For example, Romanticism, Renaissance, Reformation, Elizabethan, sorry, not Elizabethan, this Shakespearean era. Okay, so based on the writings produced in that particular period. And another aspect is that based on the reign of the rulers. Say, for example, Henry VIII period, Elizabethan period, Victorian period, Jacobian period, all these. Okay. So there is another way of dividing is based on the major authors. Like that. So first of all, today's poetry, so now it is free from any traditional and classical force or style. It is free. Today, you can adopt any style, say blank words, free words, and you can write prose by using poetic language, and you can write a poem by using a colloquial language. You can write today, you can write a poem addressing many common things, day-to-day life, based on the topics. So the theme could be anything, right? But earlier, writing poetry is not such an easiest thing. So if you need to write a poem, you have to select a style. You have to write it an elegy or ode, a sonnet, and they have to follow
rhythm of rhymes.
Yes, and poetic diction. Poetic diction, okay, the language which is used in poems. So they should possess some rhyme scheme, and you cannot escape all these things. And if you want to escape and you write, you become a revolutionary. That literary piece not much acknowledged and recognized. So that's why metaphysical poetry was not encouraged and appreciated at its period. But now it became quite popular. Just now we have read, we noted that also, right? So that metaphysical poetry has established based on what? What conditions? Social, economical, political, religious situations, conditions in the society. Any literary piece, say it a poem, prose, whatever, it has to be understood in such a way that you need to keep it an idea in your mind that it is reflecting that present day society, that day's society, that day, that times, situations, all types of situations, starting from culture and all that. And it can be incorporated, it can be interpreted today also. Today also we can write. The only difference was at that time, what were the conditions prevailed in the society? They wanted to change the society. They wanted to instruct the society. They wanted to mirrorize the situations to the public. That's why they have chosen such type of movements. Got it, sir?
Yeah, yes. Songs also, in the olden times, the hymns, songs also have the good meaning. Meaning in sense, yeah. But later on,
Today movies, you can take the example of movies, right?
Yeah.
The same thing.
Okay, carry on. Okay, madam, continue.
Ma'am, are you talking? Are you in mute?
I think madam is left.
Hello?
Madam,
Madam,
I'm
చెప్పండి
audible.
madam. చెప్పండి madam.
You're audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
You're
okay.
audible.
You're audible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Right. So the poem is divided into 3 stanzas, each stanza depicting one idea. He emphasizes the completeness and unity of their love, suggesting that their love creates a perfect, self-sufficient world. So first stanza, it is a reflection of the past. What they are, now the speaker of the poem is addressing himself and about his lady love. So now he is saying, just now we have separated from our mother's feet. We are enacted like we have been in a sleeping mode, and just now we we have became aware of a truth, and such how he's talking about all these past experiences in the first stanza. So he questions himself that before their current love, that means he realized the mature and the complete meaning of love, suggesting that previous pleasures were childish and insignificant, childishly slept, and country pleasures. What are country pleasures? Children will be playing with trees, water, and all that, and they'll be continuously sleeping. Their mothers will be breastfeeding, and all the things he discusses in the first stanza. So before going to poem, first you have to understand here the love is not the physical love. Love is not between the male and female. The love is between ourselves and God. It is spiritual love. So before their current love, just now the poet has realized that the love towards his God, religion, or his spiritual love was insufficient. He behaved like a child. He will be forgetting to pray, and he'll be, he'll be forgetting practicing the things which are ordered by God, and the treatment with others, how he treats others, all these things. So now he realized. That's why the title of the poem is Good-Morrow, good morning. He's saying to his inner self, he's talking to his inner self that, yes, good morning. Now Just now I have awakened. Now I realized the importance of spiritual love. So discovery of true love. The speaker acknowledges that both he and his beloved were incomplete until they found each other. He is himself and the beloved is his mind, his inner self. So they were incomplete until they found each other, implying that their past experiences were mere distractions from the true, profound love they now share. So now he's saying that their love is supreme, their love is supernatural. So he is talking to his beloved, lady love. That is his inner self. Now he realized himself in the light of religion, in the light of God. So second stanza, unity and completeness. He talks about unity. So unity of himself, unity of the lover and the beloved. That means human soul and with the supreme soul. The speaker compares their awakening to the experience of explorers discovering new worlds, suggesting that their love has revealed a new unexplored realm within themselves. So now he realized his inner self, which is intended to learn many things from God, to know the truth. What is the ultimate truth? Now he is exploring a new world, perfect world. And that new world which they explored is perfect. The speaker asserts that their love creates a perfect self-contained world. He uses metaphors of geography and exploration to emphasize that their love encompasses everything they need, rendering the external world irrelevant. Now here he talks about geography and exploration. So at this time, at the time of John Donne, what was on the scenario? What was in the air? That people started exploring new islands. They started exploring new countries. Okay, so people are traveling from place to place. Initially, they used to travel, but now the modes of travel, all modes of travel by air, by water, and by land has been increased. Geography, that means the map has been developed, pointing each and country based on their, the area and the density of population and all that. So exploration has been increased. So now he is talking about this scientifical new inventions. Okay, science is not that which is about physics and chemistry or biology. The basic meaning of science, the root word of science is to know. Omniscient. God is omniscient, means God knows everything. Coming to know, that is a science, to know. It is not our or just a comprehensive way or a very restricted view of science, saying physics, chemistry, or medicine. That is not science. Science is to know any field, in any field, say it astronomy, history, starting from politics, anything. So the scientific investigations were developed. People started, moving far away from God. So now, to them, John Donne is addressing is that even though a lot much is happening in the outer world, but inside me, my world is complete. My world is perfect because this is the ultimate truth. This is the ultimate love. And in stanza 3, eternal and immortal love. Now he is making it immortalize, means that it is not perishable. Interdependence. The speaker describes their love as so interconnected that each partner perfectly reflects the other, suggesting a profound unity and harmony. Interdependence. So he is saying that my eyes, I can see. So you imagine both of them, lover and lady love. They are, staring at each other, and the lover can see his image in the eyes of the beloved, and the beloved can see the image of this other person in their eyes. That means their eyes are reflecting each other, just like the two hemispheres of the earth. Earth has two hemispheres, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So again, he says that in one more point, he says that they are not that much imperfect. If you combine these two hemispheres also, the complete figure of the earth cannot make a complete idea. Why? Because there is a little subtle differences on the edges, polar edges. But in our view, our hearts, our minds, our world, there is no gaps. If you unite me and you, it is a complete globe. It is a complete world, he says. So it depends on interdependence and immortality of love. The poem concludes with the idea that their love is so perfect and balanced that it is immune to decay and death. That means it is not perishable. It never dies. It never decays. I mean, there is no gradual depletion of their love also, because it is spiritual. It doesn't belong to the physical world. Their souls are so intertwined that they will continue to live on in each other, transcending physical existence. It is more than the physical existence, and it can continue for eternal. And another poem is Canonization. So first of all, what is canonization? So canonization is an act, usually when you declare, when you when you declare and when you give honor to a dead person, that it is that person is a saint. Canonization is declaration of the title, the sainthood. You got it?
Once again, repeat, madam. Canonization means it is a canonical books is there in Roman Catholic.
No. It is not. For example, you know.
It is a
Yeah.
Speak.
Suppose Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas, the disciple of Thomas, Jesus came to India and he died in Chennai, right? We have St. Thomas Mount in Chennai.
Yeah. Chennai.
Yeah. After his death, church declares, or that community declares, that he is a saint because he died for a holy reason. He died for a great reason. Okay. And sometimes they are martyrs. So sometimes, they were brutally killed for the purpose of a religious purpose. And even though they are not martyrs, even though it is a natural death, they have lived for religion, okay, in a perfect way. And they produce some.
Ma'am, Mother Teresa is the best example.
Yes?
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
She has given sainthood, ma'am.
Yes. Saint.
But they are saints. Canonical means there are only.
No. Here that we need to take consideration of the meaning that only the declaration of that sainthood. That's it. That act is called canonization. Okay,
Means that sure, like Mother Teresa, like some of the main leaders, which they can canonical.
It is not just based on religion. Any person is decided by their own religion. It is not, maybe in Christianity also, that act is called canonization, declaring or proclaiming that that person has lived a sacred life under a supervision. So that is the process is called canonization. Here, John Donne has given this title because he wants to declare, he wants to be declared his love, okay, as sacred and lived for a good purpose. That's why he titled his poem Canonization. Okay, let us go through that. The Canonization is a poem by John Donne that showcases his distinctive metaphysical style, combining intellectual wit, complex conceits, and exploring themes such as love, religion, and immortality. Here's a brief summary. Stanza 1 talks about the speaker addresses an unnamed critic, urging them to stop interfering in his life. He suggests that if the critic cannot leave him in peace, they should redirect their concerns to other matters such as money, social status, or their own trouble. So here he's talking about his love towards his, he is urging the third party. So now in this poem, the lover and his lady love, they are in their house. Okay. So now he is asking the outer world, please don't disturb. Okay. Just leave us for our sake. Don't interfere into my personal matter. So he is directly and indirectly, okay, saying to the society that whatever I write, whatever I feel, whomever I support, because John Donne is a supporter of the king and he's writing, he used his pen as a sword to bring that awareness in the society. So now he's asking, don't disturb me. Okay. So whatever I write is for a good purpose. It is for a sacred purpose. So if you don't want to leave me, just focus on the other things, such as making money, social status. You may work for a social status, but I am not working for a social status. The John Donne is informing the other writers. So he might have faced some critiques. That's why he is talking through his poem. So the speaker defends the intensity of his love, asserting that it harms no one. He mocks the idea that there are natural disasters or political upheavals. He is again saying that my love and my life is not disturbing anybody. And they are not causing any kind of natural disasters also, political upheavals also. I am not causing no harm to anyone. Then why are you disturbing me? He is questioning the others. Instead, he claims that their love is private, affecting no one else. So he is a Puritan. John Donne is a Puritan. Now he is saying that, so the rest of the world who is not following the Puritanism, who is supporting the others, other churches or other things, they are writing on many topics. They did not restrict themselves to religious writings or sacred writings. They are not living life of a Puritan. He is claiming that their life is materialistic. They work for money, they work for social status, and they work for some other worldly pleasures and all that. But my love is spiritual. I will. Yes. Please mute your mic, somebody. Instead, he claims that their love is private and affects no one else. Stanza 3. The speaker elevates their love to spiritual.
What is the color of the carrot?
Arguing that it is transformative.
Red. Red.
Excuse me.
ED.
Please switch off your mic. Please mute your mics, please. He compares their relationship to the mythical phoenix, which rises anew from its ashes, symbolizing rebirth and eternal life. Now he talks about an imagery that is a mythical phoenix. Phoenix. This phoenix is a bird which raises from its ashes. You must have heard about this bird. So it is mythical actually. But now he is saying that, so if you kill this bird and if you put that into ashes, it raises from its ashes. So like that, my love is also eternal. You cannot kill it. Even though you try to kill, it will arise. It will take a rebirth. So it transcends from one stage to another. It can transform. And the speaker contents that their love is so profound and unique that it deserves to be immortalized in poetry. Through the written word, their love will be remembered and celebrated forever. And he even envisions, that means he even thinks about future. He further says that their story inspiring future generations and becoming a paradigm of true love. That means it can become a model for everybody. And the last stanza, the poem concludes with the speaker's assertion that their love will grant them a kind of sainthood. This is the concluding paragraph, concluding stanza about the title. So, a kind of sainthood. The poem concludes with the speaker's assertion that their love will grant them a kind of sainthood. So, he wants his love to be granted, given a title that it is a saint love. Even if they are not canonized by the church, they will achieve a form of secular canonization through their love. So he's saying that if church is not ready to give this title, he wants to take it from the secular source. If it is not from religion side, he wants to take it as a secular one through their love, which will be revered and admired by others as an example of perfect devotion. So this is how John Donne explains his poems, Good-Morrow and Canonization. Both two are very important poems.
And what type of question it will come, madam?
Yes, yes.
About John Donne, they will ask questions like what?
Yes, from your prescribed text, there is a chance of asking about metaphysical poetry. Explain John Donne as a metaphysical poetry poet, or from your prescribed texts, or there may be a direct question of comparing these two poems. Okay, there is a chance of asking in many ways. Yes.
Canonization.
Yeah, canonization. Now,
Ma'am, what is the difference between
Yes.
paradox and irony, ma'am?
Paradox is two opposite things.
Contradictory, yes.
Yeah. Paradigm is something like which is a model. Okay.
Madam, these poets are very few now. Means not all the people. Only God selected some few person. They began to write poems.
Sorry,
it
sir.
is only God's. I thought it is a God's gift. The poetry given to John Donne and any person. It is a really God has planned. Some people they wrote, not all.
Yes, yes. Even the poets say that it's a divine intervention. Poetry is a divine intervention. They call, poetry is from God. The thoughts is given by God.
Yeah, it's all God has anointed. Yeah.
Yes. So with this, we will move to the next session, Paradise Lost. So just now you have asked, right? Somebody, what is the difference between paradox and paradigm, right? Yeah. Paradigm. Yeah. Paradigm means it's a model. Okay. Paradox means it's opposite. It's contradictory to each other.
Yes, ma'am. Contradictory statements are paradox. What is irony then?
What is
irony, madam?
Irony.
Figures of speech. Irony, yeah.
Figures of speech. Irony is that you want to show some flaw. You want to say that somebody is doing a mistake. So not directly saying that you are doing a mistake and this is not good. It is not, but saying it in another way, giving it as a twist in a funny way. That is irony. And sometimes irony gives you laughter. That is irony. Figures of speech irony is it arises some comic sense or laughter. when you talk about somebody's behavior or some situation, that one. Okay. Next.
Madam, is it Sameta in Telugu?
No, it is not. Sameta means proverb. Proverbs. Okay. So, haven't you reading? Are you not reading all these figures of speech?
Yeah. Yes, these are parts of speech like figures of speech you didn't learn, madam. Only parts. Okay.
No. Figures of speech, as literary students, you need to go through
Yeah.
figures of speech. Okay, so if possible, next class, I'll try to make a list of them.
Okay. Thank
Or
you,
just
thank
I'll share the link in the group so that you can go
you.
through
Yes,
and
yes.
you will read it. Okay, because
Yes,
at PG level, postgraduate level, actually you are expected to learn to know all these things prior to the classes. Okay.
madam, we don't have group now because your lecturer that you teach and gone now, but selected group you are prepared? No. Our students have all
Students,
of students. Yeah.
they students possess a separate group now for your batch. Okay.
Yeah, for every college, madam, center, study center, but all together they don't have group, whole college group.
Okay.
Anyhow.
So John Milton. Okay. So Paradise Lost. It is a very great work. Even today also, we are reading Paradise Lost. So John Milton is such a great writer. Okay. So let us go through about his Paradise Lost. John Milton was an English poet, polemicist, and civil servant, best known for his epic poem Paradise Lost. It is a brief biography of his life and works. So birth is in London, England. Education, Milton attended St. Paul's School in London and then Christ College, Cambridge, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in 1629 and Master of Arts also. His early works include poetry. During his early years, Milton wrote several notable works, including these Allegro and Penseroso, Comus, and all these Lycidas being the very popular one. Okay. The later being a pastoral elegy mourning the death of his friend Edward King. So he lost his friend, Edward King. So he has written Lycidas. It became very popular. So in the middle years and Civil War, during the era of Civil War, he has written about his themes are basically political involvement. Milton was deeply involved in his time's political and religious upheavals. He supported the Puritan cause and wrote numerous pamphlets advocating for civil and religious liberties. Civil War. Milton sided with the parliamentarians during the English Civil War. After King Charles I execution, Milton served as the Latin secretary to the Council of State under Oliver Cromwell. So after the Charles I's execution, and there is a gap between almost 10 to 12 years gap between Charles II's restoration period. So during this period, Oliver Cromwell became the Chancellor, that is a Lord Protector. So at this time, he served as a Latin secretary to the Protector. So his major works includes, this is a very, very popular, even admired today also, a lot of research has been done on Areopagitica. A prose work advocating for the freedom of the press. See, today, press, if you talk about we need freedom, we can write anything, we can portray anything, the media is, right? At that time, the media was press. So he talked about the freedom of press in 1644 itself. Areopagitica remains one of the most eloquent defense of free speech and expression. And it is a beautiful, wonderful work. Really, if you have time, please go through that. At least the summary of Areopagitica. Next, Paradise Lost. The present one we are reading, only book 1. And Milton's magnum opus, it is called magnum opus, the greatest of all his works. This epic poem tells the story of the fall of man, exploring themes of temptation, free will, and redemption. Written in blank verse, it is considered one of the greatest works of English literature. And Paradise Regained, after completion of Paradise Lost, he produced another one, Paradise Regained. This shorter epic focuses on the temptation of Christ in the wilderness and serves as a sequel to Paradise Lost. Samson Agones. So it is also a very great poem. A tragic closet, it is a drama that parallels the biblical story of Samson, you know, the mightiest person in the Bible. In the Old Testament, Samson is a very, very mighty personality. That means he has a much strength. The most strongest person, Samson. And he compares himself as a Samson and the struggles.
Character.
Sorry?
Samson is a story character.
Biblical character. Biblical character. Okay. So later life and blindness. Blindness by 1652, Milton had become completely blind, likely due to glaucoma. Despite his blindness, he continued to write his works to aides and family members. So unfortunately, by 1652, by the time he started writing this Paradise Lost, he became blind, completely blind. Why? Because due to this glaucoma, you know, eye disease, it is a glaucoma. It is not reversible. Even today also, glaucoma is not reversible. So despite his blindness, he continues to write. So he hired scribers so that he used to narrate and they used to write. Sometimes his family members and sometimes his supporters. Restoration. Following the restoration of the monarchy in 1660. That means after the restoration of Charles II, Milton was briefly imprisoned and his writings were suppressed, but he continued to write until his death. So when this Charles II came to the throne, he imprisoned Milton. Because we know the old government is always, the persons who supports the older government or the rulers will obviously has to take the punishment. So in a way, he was imprisoned, but later he was released. But still, he continued until his death, his writings. Very great writings. Death and legacy. So in London, he died November 8, 1674. He was buried in St. Giles without Cripplegate Church. And Milton's influence on English literature is profound. His works, particularly Paradise Lost, have impacted poetry, theology, and political thought. He is regarded as one of the greatest English poets, and his contribution to the ideas of liberty and human rights remains significant. He's not only a poet, he wrote essays, he wrote prose. Okay, his works are in all genres. Milton's blend of classical and Christian themes, his advocacy for personal and political freedoms, and his mastery of poetic form ensure his enduring place in the canon of English literature. Somebody was talking, this is canon means, what is this? Canon of English literature. Here, you can take this as a form of book or scripts, but that canonization is different. This canon is different. Okay, so I think we are out of time. Paradise Lost.
Man, everyone is quoted, madam. Paradise Lost, and many people also spoke about John Milton's letters.
Yes.
Well known.
Time is money. It's a very popular quote. Okay, John Milton. Like that, we have so many popular quotes of John Milton, and no doubt that he is a great writer, like Bacon, Francis Bacon, and John Donne. They are the giant personalities with great wisdom, knowledge, and all that. Right. We will continue tomorrow, Paradise Lost, and the rest of the units.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please share the slides.
Yeah, sure.
Madam, any notes means cannot, it's not possible, no PDF.
Sir, I think you don't know. You just ask your participants, one of your participants to share the number. Last week they shared the number.
Yeah,
You have a group which maintains
yeah.
all this. So faculties are sending PPTs and PDFs in group, WhatsApp group.
Yes, ma'am. I will take that one. Okay.
Yeah. So some of you please share the number or the link.
Ma'am, they are
Okay.
asking restrictions for the group, ma'am. No, they're not sharing the link. They're not adding us in the group. Ma'am, it would be please helpful, ma'am. Whoever is having the group, no, let them please share it. We are just, we'll just take the knowledge. That's it. They are giving many restrictions to join in the group.
Why?
I don't know, ma'am. Many of them are trying to join in the group, but they're not asking why.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
actually, there are so many groups,
Hmm.
so we can't get that PDFs or whatever it is you are sharing. We are not getting them.
Okay.
Ma'am, whoever is
I will.
Actually, who
Okay.
is
Let me.
having first, and then I will talk to them, madam.
Ma'am, can you share the number which you shared PDF?
Who is having the proper?
Ma'am, now we will join, ma'am. Please share the link, ma'am, if you have now.
Yeah.
We'll join immediately.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I will can do it. I can do it tomorrow because I am not having my mobile with me.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah, definitely tomorrow. Or
Yes,
you
yes.
just please hold on for a second. You please.
Yes, please,
Madam,
ma'am.
give me your number also, madam. Number also is not. Please give your number also.
Okay.
Tell me your number also so that.
So much, ma'am, for holding our request.
Did you see this?
Number. Yes, ma'am.
So please note it down. It's mine. Okay.
No, madam. It's not come display. And it is in a box.
So it's in the chart, no?
It's in the chat.
It's in the chart.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of you just please note it down. Okay. You just send me a message. One of you send
No,
me a
it is.
message.
No, it is not come. Please.
No, ma'am, we didn't get them, ma'am.
Ma'am, we got it. Ma'am, what do we need to do, ma'am? Shall we text you or shall we create a group, ma'am?
No, already there is a group. Only thing is you need to join. I'll get you that number.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Okay.
please text me. I'll give you that number. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you. So
If you are
ma'am.
unable to do this, tomorrow I'll give you. You just
Yes,
please
ma'am.
text me. I'll give
Ma'am,
you the
link
number
is
so that.
provided so that everyone will join.
Yeah.
Thank you for considering our request, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. We'll meet tomorrow, right?
Ma'am, thank
Thank you.
Yes,
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
madam.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Have a pleasant day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Whoever got the number, can you please share?